Happy Wednesday, everybody. What's going on? I'm super excited for today's conversation. You find wisdom from all over the place, and for this conversation today, it's not going to be any different, but it will definitely resonate with your heart and spirit. This young man that I'm going to bring on to this live today, we connected in the DMs, and there's so many people who are online. I guess like social media. What's up, Bernard? Social media makes life super duper small because like when you know your purpose and people like and another person knows their purpose and you align so clearly, it makes everything so like smooth running. And so I really appreciated the conversation that I had with this gentleman. We really talked about like our transition from corporate to entrepreneurship, and I think you guys are gonna appreciate some of the things that that resonates with him in his life journey and why he decided to actually leave. So I think what I'll do is I'm gonna see if I can send this out, and I might need to invite him in this way. Let's see. Well, how you doing, Bernard? Let's do this. Boom. This, and then we're gonna send it. Nope, that's not who I meant to send it to. Unfortunately, there we go. Oh, he's in here. There we go. What it do? Come on in. I got you. I can't see the screen when I'm like scrolling looking for people, so that's what happened there. Let's get into the conversation.
There we go.
What's going on?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Pretty good. Listen, I've been excited to have this conversation. I haven't had too many first time conversations on the live in a long time, but I already knew, like, from the moment we started talking and connecting, I already knew this was going to be a lit conversation. So, I did give you a bit of an introduction just about your journey and not too many specifics because I think people can learn as you unfold a little bit of the journey of like why we are here today. But on Wisdom Wednesday, we always talk about the transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. And for many people, the reason that they transition is, vast majority. Some people want to fire their boss. Some people want flexibility. Some people want more money. Some people want just to like work in the bed and never have to do anything in their life. But that doesn't resonate with you and me, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right.
So,
So without further ado, would you please introduce yourself to the folks and then we'll get into the topic of today.
definitely. And first off, thank you for having me. I felt the same way I think you sent me a video. And when I actually watched your video, I was like, yeah, we can chop it up. This is my absolute first time doing a live with someone that I don't have rapport with like that. So I'm excited to see how it goes. But
Yeah.
to introduce myself, my name is Albert C. Hurston Jr., CPA. I'm the owner of Right Choice Accounting Solutions, where we provide a one-stop shop outsourced accounting department service. Am I echoing a little bit?
No, it's perfect on my side. But guys, if you can hear echo in the chat, let us know. Thumbs up if you hear echo in the chat. I should have said thumbs down, but hey, thumbs up if you hear echo in the chat.
That you? I was gonna say, is that you?
Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe they might need to like, or she might need to like turn down the volume. You know how that works.
Everybody who knows me always knows Lauren's always just on camera. No matter where I'm at, she's always right there. But yeah, I hear some feedback. But if I'm the only one, that's cool.
Okay,
It doesn't
guys,
matter.
if you hear the feedback, then I don't hear because I don't hear the feedback. So yeah, let us know what you hear. If the sound is good and crispy, then we're gonna keep it moving as long as you can.
Yeah. But like I was saying, I'm the owner of Right Choice Accounting Solution, and we pretty much we bring the way that the large successful companies think about accounting. We bring that to small business owners because in the small business world, a lot of times you hire bits and pieces of the accounting and tax puzzle, but that's not how it's really done. It's done with departments, it's done with functions, it's done with collaboration. So that's how we run our business.
I was looking at your content and like the level 1 through 3 really broke it down, like for a small business owner to understand like what different processes you need to be considering as a solo entrepreneur. For me, I'm thinking, okay, how can I apply this in my business? And since we're on the topic of specifically on your business, before we get too much into the transition, to help me understand a little bit more, as corporate employees, we do know a little bit about like the departments and how teams cross-functionally operate. So
Yeah,
what's the first one or two, three or four things that you help a solo entrepreneur do? Like one, I'm sure shift their mindset around like not doing it themselves. But then how do you get them to transition into like having some of those different departments or like capabilities?
yeah, and I'm glad you asked it that way because it really depends on what part of your entrepreneurial journey you're on.
Okay.
What you need is based on that. So I've been saying lately, if you are someone who are just starting, you don't necessarily need that high level CFO strategy insight thing because that's going to be the thing that saves you money, that ensures that your tax bill isn't crazy, that does all the high level stuff. If you're at the point in business where you're figuring out how to make money, that's not as valuable to you. You probably need bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is going to be the categorization, it's going to be the compliance work, it's going to be showing you the differences between your revenues, your expenses. It's going to do the basics in accounting that help you see kind of what you're doing as you're growing. So the way I typically break it down is when there is someone who comes to us, I ensure that they are first and foremost in the right entity type. Because LLC versus S-Corp is pretty much the consideration for almost every small business. But S-Corp is a little popular right now. So a lot of people are hopping into S-Corps and they should righteously just still be in their LLC. So we start there. Then we make sure that people just have their EIN, make sure that they're running all of their transactions through their business banking account, make sure that they have QuickBooks in the business account connected to QuickBooks. And we just kind of build through those basics and up from there.
Okay. This might already be a non-conventional wisdom Wednesday because I have so many more questions. So for those of you
Okay.
guys who follow my journey on my page, I have always documented the process of me becoming an entrepreneur and now me being an entrepreneur and I'm coaching corporate professionals. Where I'm at specifically in my business is I just hired the lady who did my books last year to like really like set me up from a systematic perspective to do that first level that you were talking about, which is like
Mm-hmm.
doing all the bookkeeping, knowing exactly what's going in and what's going out. Because I envision the next level being able to like departmentalize what I'm doing because right now I'm not in that phase where I'm like, oh, I need a CFO. So that's my transparent journey. But then when you hear, like as a new entrepreneur, you hear like, okay, you need to be an S-Corp, you need to be an LLC. You said that everybody's kind of getting on the bandwagon of an S-Corp. And what I've understood is, so there are better tax breaks for S-Corps, whether you're a new entrepreneur or not. And then I also hear like, as long as you can prove that you are paying yourself or your staff, then you should be in an S-Corp. What are all the nuances that help people debunk why they should be in an LLC instead of an S corp?
Well, I'll just start from the beginning because that's not, that ain't right. What you,
Okay. Listen,
so,
I am not the tax professional, so do not write down anything I just said.
but that luckily you have integrity to say that kind of thing. A lot of people hear it and they say it and they share it with their followers and blah blah blah. But an S corp is partially true what you said, but the main consideration is can you afford to pay yourself a reasonable salary? Reasonable based on what you actually provide in your business. So if you were to hire someone else to do what you're doing within your business, what would that salary be? And can you afford to pay them that? That's typically, 50,000, 55,000, 60,000. When you start getting that amount of profit after expenses, then you need to start making that consideration because most people, depending on the business, but most people can get away with a $50,000 salary. Now, what a lot of people do is they pay themselves a salary, a small amount, and they try to keep the rest of the income and they give it to themselves as distributions. But if they get audited, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to have penalties, they're going to have fees. And another thing that people don't necessarily understand about S corps is you have to run payroll. It's not like as long as you can justify that you blah blah blah. It's like nah, the what you have to do now that you become this S corp, you have to treat yourself like a legit employee. So that means withholding those taxes. That means paying those taxes quarterly. That means all of the things that you will have to do If the employee wasn't you, you have to do it for yourself now through it. And the benefit of that is that net income amount that's left after all the expenses are cleared,
Mm-hmm.
you get to take that and you don't have to pay self-employment taxes on it. So that is more of a, high five, low six figure consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you start getting a 55, 60,000, you can start kind of talking about it. But if you're in certain types of consulting, you have
Mm-hmm.
to even be careful then, because if you were paying if the reasonable salary is 80K, like you just need to be very careful with what you're doing, because more and more people are doing it. So the IRS is going to start being more and more, cognizant of that. So they're going to start pulling more to audit. They're going to start being more, they're just going to be more on top of it because it's popular.
Okay. Okay. This is
Did that
actually
make sense?
really, what was that?
Did that make sense?
Absolutely. The way that I understand it is if you are operating at a level where you can pay yourself a reasonable salary, that's the difference between just paying yourself $5 every month and saying I'm an
Mm-hmm.
S-Corp versus paying $50,000 a month or a year, because you can afford it, because your business, your revenue is there and your profit is there. So once your profit starts looking kind of hefty, when you think about new entrepreneurs versus 5 and 6 figures, that's when you should start thinking about the tax cuts that S-Corps provide. I think a lot of
Yeah.
times, and as I'm thinking about this, if you guys know anybody who's transitioning into entrepreneur or they're a new entrepreneur, go ahead and send this out to 10 people. And when you're done, tell me and Albert that you did it so that they can get this information, okay? Because this
Yeah.
is actually really helpful. So yes, the first part was me understanding that once you get to a level in your business, um, that's when you can actually go into that S-Corp stage.
Well,
And I know there's some
not
people who
only
already did it. Go ahead.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to be very, very direct with saying not go into it, but start considering it, because I'll use myself for an example, right? So Right Choice is a six-figure company. Every year we make six figures. We're still in the LLC because I can strategically use the rules around the LLC better than I could as an S-Corp. I don't want to hire myself yet. My wife works here as the COO. She's on salary, but we can typically do a lot more things with the flexibility of an LLC tax wise than we could as an S corp. Now, if we continue to grow, I mean, we don't have to do it because it'll make more sense. But at the level like I say comfortably six figures. I don't want to just put a number out there. Where I say comfortably a six-figure firm or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have right now, we're scaling. So we're still hiring team. We're still investing more in the marketing. We're still doing a lot of training, doing a lot of coaching. We have a lot of expenses. And then we have our contractors and our employees. So we can pretty much expense our way down to lower than what I would have to take as a reasonable salary. And as you know, that's more beneficial. So it's more of a consideration. Online, it's just no real like cut off one stop answer. You'll really just have to hire a professional who can understand your business, the ins and outs, what you're trying to do. So that's how and I'm sorry for not saying that, off top, but that's when you want to start talking to your tax professional about it. You don't want to just, if you ain't talk to your CPA, who obviously know what they're talking about, you don't need to do anything with your business, any formation, except start your LLC. You can start your LLC, but after that, nah, you need to
That's
talk to somebody.
really good. What I'm hearing is so what I'm hearing is that there's no like there is a right answer in your book because you are familiar with S corps, right? And you
Mhm.
also understand the rules and regulations that will help you navigate and leverage the LLC better than the S corp. So is it in accounting, is it nuanced in a way where one CPA could be really, really just they could just find all kind of loopholes and they specialize in S Corp so they can make a new entrepreneur look better on paper without having to risk being audited? Is it that type of nuance? Or is it like, no, like do you stand on the fact that no, I know this and in practice it really should be LLC and then S corp. Is it nuanced or is it fact?
It's nuanced.
Okay.
It's nuanced, and I'm sorry. Oh, let me kill my volume. You'll start hearing Slack go off in a second. But
Got a team.
but no, yeah. But no, it's very nuanced because CPA is just a designation. All CPA means is we've passed a really hard test, we have a certain amount of experience, we have at least 150 credit hours. But it's just like everything else. Some CPAs are high performing. Some CPAs saw that CPA designation as the finish line and now they lazy, they don't work hard, they don't really know much. So it's really, the CPA is really just a designation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very specific about what you're asking to get that knowledge base. Because I know there are, like, some of us specialize in different things, just to kind of allude to that nuance you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are CPAs that are much better with just diving into tax treatment of the different entity types.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are CPAs who don't know anything about tax really. They know the basics, they know some of that stuff. Like you'll see those people being CFOs and managers at companies, but they don't know the tax law.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, like, I think the CPA designation can kind of confuse things, but it's important for everybody to know it's really just a designation. All it means is, this person pretty smart, this person pretty educated, and this person has some solid experience under their belt. But it does speak to their, I'll call it nerdness, how much they gonna stay up on the rules and don't talk about they work at. Well, you have to work hard to get through the test. It take you like a year to pass the test.
Okay.
But I'll be lying if I act like I don't know CPAs who put their head down, got through their CPA exam, got their CPA, and was like, man, I did it. And yeah, and that ain't good. I saw that was like the starting line for me.
Yeah.
But it was like the finish line for others. But I'm a natural nerd, so it's different.
Dope. I
So
love talking to nerds. That means I don't have to nerd out, because when I nerd out, I get exhausted. But when I can ask you a bunch of questions, then we get the information from you, and I don't have to worry too much about nerding out.
yeah, I like that. I never heard it put that way. I like that.
Well, so the funny thing is, so we connected on just our reason to leave corporate. But before I even went into my corporate job, I thought I was going to be a CPA. Like, when I'm in high school, I'm like, I'm going to be a CPA. I didn't know very much. Like, when you're in college or when you're in elementary school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I chose CPA, and that's it, right? But then when I went to UGA, I took the entry exam, and it was so much comprehensive reading. And I will tell you, I didn't conquer my comprehensive reading challenges until like last year, because I joined the morning meetup and we read books all the time. Comprehensive reading was the worst score. So of course I didn't get into accounting. I went finance because I said, I could be more creative with numbers. Still, I'm searching for a career path that is more aligned to me as a person. And it took me 10 years to find that out. So I got a degree in finance, went into data analytics. And so listening to you, I truly do appreciate you being able to nerd out on accounting, because I feed off of your energy, right? Like, I feed off of your passion for the numbers, not the passion for the numbers. So I truly appreciate talking to you about this part. And I'm curious. Now, if you guys have questions specific for this, we're going to get into his journey in a minute. But Albert, you open to answering some questions?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Cool beans. So kind of segue into your journey. One of the things that I really focus on when it comes to transitioning from corporate to entrepreneur is like knowing who your target audience is. As a new entrepreneur, knowing who your target is really important. And one of the ways that I talk about doing it is like, while you're in corporate, figuring out like who within your network might be a possible someone you can actually help and solve a problem. And so I think this conversation that we're having is really spot on, because you have to know whether Albert is a good fit for you or not, right? Because if you're not a 6-figure earner, 5 and 6-figure earner, then for you to try to reach out to Albert is not going to work, right? And vice versa. When you were trying to figure out who you were going to serve when you were still in corporate, what was your process? Did you start your business before you left corporate, or like did you know who you were going to serve when you left?
Well, everything will be a longer story. You'll get it, but it's a little bit. I'm gonna give you the short version. So my problem when I was in corporate, right? I guess when you start getting into your late 20s, early 30s, more and more of your friends and people starting businesses. they get fed up, burned out, tired of trying to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll speak for myself. That was my experience. Like more and more of my friends and stuff start getting burned out and want to start businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I will see in the landscape when they got out there, they'll be hiring bookkeepers and stuff, and they just couldn't get good service. And you know, like you can look at me and tell what my friends look like. My friends, black folks, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say I ain't got no white friends, but you know what I'm saying. Like it was hard to be somebody who was black, who wanted black financial professionals. It was hard for them to find quality. So that's what started shifting my mindset to, man, I'm gonna have to be able to go out and help these specific business owners because, you know, it's your Jewish, straight, old white male accountant kind of looks down on us, really. So you don't want to be spending your money with people who don't necessarily appreciate your business. So that's very uncomfortable. It's very formal, but you're talking about something so intimate like your money, I got your social, I got your bank account information, but it's just formal stand up. So it's uncomfortable. So I started seeing that need in the market, especially it started with my friends. So that's when I started to kind of look at it. I was just going to do it, you know, to kind of help businesses out who wanted to feel comfortable on their calls and wanted to have an account they were comfortable with. But then I realized my knowledge base isn't really good for people who are figuring it out. A bookkeeper can help someone who's figuring it out. What I was doing in corporate was it fit better with people they had figured out how to get their leads. They had figured out how to get their sales. Now they need to figure out how to scale their business and grow their team and understand what their numbers actually mean and that sort of thing. So that was kind of the trajectory. Now, I started my business as a side business like all of us do. But I realized early on when you're doing something like this, I'm going to keep using the word intimate just because I like it. Not intimate in the word like me and my wife, but you know, just
Yes.
personal.
When I have to find somebody to look into my stuff, I'm like, who do I want in my stuff?
Yeah. But I realized like you can't do that after you worked all day. Like when you worked all day, you coming home, you already really tired. Anybody who pretend like they ain't tired after they don't work been away from home 9-10 hours, you know, I'm in the Atlanta area, so you already know we gonna have an hour and a half commute anyways. Mm-hmm. Then you work your 8 hours. So you've been away from home for 9.5 hours. So you're gonna come home after that. Now you're gonna be able to focus and help somebody grow their business. I felt like I was giving my clients the worst of me or whatever. So that's what made me take the leap and start really doing it full time.
What? Okay, now there's a whole lot in between. Now that's what made me take the leap because I resonate with like not giving your clients your all, right? And when you feel like you're being pulled in two different directions, you can't be your best for anything. So with that being your epiphany, when was it game time, or when did you decide, okay, what am I gonna do about it?
Oh, when I started realizing, so this is a little bit deeper than we even need to go, but I'm gonna get it to you anyway. So when I started to realize that people like my personality, I was one of these people who ain't talk that much at first. I was kind of, you know, my self-esteem wasn't low, but I just was kind of shy and timid and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was one of those younger people whoever I was around, I was kind of trying to act like whoever I was around. Mm-hmm. And so as I was growing up, I started like, oh, people rock with me. People like this quirky stuff. You know, like I don't learn now. We like weirdos. We used to, when we were younger, you know, everybody wanted to be like the cool kid. But you know, as you get older, like, oh, every time I go in a room and start talking, people start listening to this. People rock with this.
Yeah.
So it's really like you know how it is. Like, it's everything. It was like a personal growth thing that kind of got me more confident and comfortable into what I offer and the value that I bring.
Yeah.
Because that was the real thing. Now, the epiphany was one of my close friends had a bookkeeper who said they were a CFO. So it was somebody who didn't know what they were doing, pretty much running her out of business. Because, you know, a decision is a decision, but it's not always the right decision. You have to be very thoughtful in how you advising people, especially people who trust you. And when I saw that, I was just like, now I'm gonna have to get out here because I know you're not the only one. And you know, we quickly learned, she wasn't She wasn't the only one that was just getting, because you can say anything online.
Yeah.
You can say I do anything online.
So you're telling me that well, first of all, the desire for you to even do this was, I want to help more of my people who are transitioning into entrepreneurship, and more people who look like me have a safe space to manage their money. And when I think back to the first time I ever looked for somebody to help me do my taxes, I remember how stressful it was. I live in Buckhead. So I'm literally like, I call like 10 firms back to back. And when you answer, it's either somebody who doesn't speak English, or it's somebody who like super duper, you can tell it's like a corporate, like you can tell through the voice, like, oh, well, our minimum charge is 10,000 or like $3,000 or whatever it was. I was like, Lord, my whole doggone year's worth of entrepreneurship
Yeah.
wasn't as much as they were charging me. So I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had a safe space to like literally find someone who was black, number one, or find somebody I was comfortable with, until I did find someone. And I think I have to decide whether I have to understand whether she's a bookkeeper or a CPA. I never knew to ask that. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
But then the other thing that you're saying is you getting comfortable in your personal development, and then seeing this woman kind of like, I want to say, gyp people, out of their money. But I'm sure she was growing too. Like, I'm sure, hopefully she figures out. Anyway, not to get off the topic.
Yeah, no, but that's what you can. It's funny when you start building yours, both sides resonate with you, because
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, you really figuring it out, and the only way you're gonna figure it out, I don't want to call it practice, but you have to kind of work with people so that you can so that you can develop and get better.
Yeah.
The only reason I ain't have to do that with small business owner is because I was lucky enough to get a job where I was building accounting departments. So I'm going to this job, putting together the bookkeeping function, putting together the tax function, so I got a salary to do that. So I didn't have to get out into people's small businesses like trying stuff.
Trying to figure it out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But that's typically the case. You have to, like, okay, I'm about to start offering this service. Somebody got to buy that service, and then you start offering it, getting better at it, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But like that is, with financial stuff,
Yeah.
like with decisions, like with tax strategy,
Yes.
you talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. So
Yes.
yeah, but yeah, I'm right with you. That was my thing. Like, I wanted people who look like me to be, because like as a CPA in corporate America, that can get long.
Yeah.
Like, CPAs, less than 1% of CPAs are black.
Right.
So that means the highest level accounting being the actual language of business. So the highest, most qualified level of accountants, we represent less than 1% of that. Then when you get into that 1%, think about how many of us, like a lot of us, you can't really sit down and just chop it up with like this. A lot of us have pretty much thrown every remnant of black, our culture, out the window in order to, move up into their career.
Yes.
Like, you can't sit back and chop it up with it. So that cuts that 1% down. Then, you got those of us who super nerds, can't communicate because we number people. Then you got, like, it's just, with me in the accounting world, I started to feel like I was just a unicorn. And I would rather that come as a benefit to my folks and people who look like me, as more of a, instead of you having to settle, because matter of fact, I know how to say this better. I'm going on a tangent, but I'm gonna say it better than that. I wanted it to be, instead of you having to settle for that okay black accountant because you really wanted to support your people, I wanted you to get the best accountant, and the fact that you wanted to support your people with icing on the cake, because I'm black, I'm the best, I'm the nerd. Like, you gonna see, I read these books. Like, the competence is gonna be there, but you also get to show up. Like, I don't know if Nicole popped in here. I be telling her all the time. She get in on meetings. She be like, "No, I'm sorry, my hair wrap." I was like, "You're a black woman. I'm married to a black woman. That's what that come with it."
Yes.
Like, we so preconditioned sometimes to not just be able to show up as ourselves. Like, I be telling my clients, like, you ain't got to get no makeup. We finna talk about these numbers, see what's going on with your kid.
Yeah.
But we finna, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't got to be oh,
Is
yeah,
that
she here.
Nicole?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
what's up, Nicole?
you can ask them. Like, that's my main thing. I want us to be able to show up the same way they can. Show up as ourselves. Like, your hair braided. There's maintenance that go with that. When you take your hair down, it's gonna be maintenance. It's gonna be so you might wrap your hair. You might have a scarf on. Know what I'm saying? You gotta protect that. I don't want you to feel like if you running a little late, now you gotta be late for the meeting because you can't dare show up with no scarf on. You can't dare show up with something normally black. So that was my main not only for small business owners, but for future accountants. You come in here, you show up as yourself, and we gonna focus on becoming good accountants. Like you come here, you show up as yourself, we gonna focus on making sure your numbers are right. You know what I'm saying? It's just we ain't gotta focus on we ain't gotta focus on this. Think about I wanted braids my whole when I was like between 20 and 25, I wanted braids, then I wanted dreads. I was too scared to do it because I was thinking about what they would think about me and how I looked and what it meant and not. Like, so that ain't got nothing to do with accounting. So if I'm sitting there thinking about the clothes I'm wearing, the hairstyle, the blah, 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 I ain't focused on what I'm there for. And I won't, I don't want to dominate, but like, the passion's starting to bubble up now. You feel it?
I'm on the ride. I'm on the ride. Listen, I cannot wait to replay this episode. You are hitting every single pain point from an excellent Black corporate employee who just wants to be their best, but then being overwhelmed by all of the external things that we have to do to show up in corporate America. Like that can really turn a great employee to the worst employee ever. And you are really speaking to it.
Yeah, you burn out because I'm not worried about what I have to do when I get to work. I'm worried about what I look like how I speak when I get to work. I'm from Alabama, right? So I'm country. And I'm from the projects of Alabama, so I'm hood a little bit. So you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm a nerd. I'm like the geekiest of geeks when it comes down to like geeking out on the numbers and studying and blah, blah, blah. That's the important thing for this.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm country, the fact that I'm a little rough, I used to be, my wife done trained me out of it, but but the fact that I'm rough around the edges and stuff, you know what y'all do. You know what y'all do. But I'm focused more on that than I am with really just embracing how intelligent I am, how smart I am, what I can really bring to the table for this company.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for nobody else. Like, I don't want you to have to show up and worry about, oh, shit, let me unwrap my, you know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't got nothing to do with it.
Something inside of me, though, is saying right now that there is value in being in that space, because what happens is when Black people who, get the privilege to work with you don't realize what they're really getting from working with Albert, the CPA, who is really creating an environment that you don't have to deal with that. I kind of feel like in terms of life journeys, I kind of feel like it's necessary. I oftentimes say, and I'm not going to go too far on a tangent, but I would say, corporate, a lot of things in life have a place. Sometimes I go way back, and sometimes I just say corporations have a place. And I think sometimes you need to know hell in order to recognize heaven. So I really feel like what you're saying is like, yes, creating a safe haven is like perfect. But I'm in this moment, I'm like, for those who are like, I'm going to skip the whole process and go to work with Albert, it's like you still have to find a way to appreciate it. If you didn't go to corporate, you got to appreciate what you have right here, because we come to Black businesses and we discredit, you know what I mean? Like, what it takes a lot to create an authentic environment for a corporation, much less a small business. So I don't know, that just came up for me as you were talking.
No, I like that, and I agree with it, because that's something you can ask Lauren. Like, that's something we talk about all the time. We don't want to be any company's first accountant, because we've spent so much time being better. So we almost like the comparison. And same thing, like, we don't want to be, I mean, it just depends. It's a little bit different with kids. When kids are coming out, we wouldn't mind being there first.
Okay.
But that's not to disagree with what you're saying, because what you're saying is legit. You can't really, or, I'm just thinking out loud, but I want to say you can't necessarily appreciate what you got if it's all you used to. Matter of fact, that's something I tell Lauren all the time. Like, me and Lauren been together since she was 19 and I was 21. So Lauren ain't had her little heart played with out here. She ain't had to deal with, she had to deal with that.
You
You know,
missed out, Lauren. You dodged the bullet, girl.
but like, so I'd be like, so if this is normal, like I'm 34, Lauren 30. Can I tell your age on here? I guess if you could do the math, I guess I already said the difference. But I'm 34, I'm 32. I'm 34, she's 32. We've been together for 13 years. Like, so we old married people in our relationship. But that ain't our peer group experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'd be like, Lauren, don't get it twisted. Like, you used to this because you married a champ, but
Just in case you didn't know. If hopefully God was speaking to you in this conversation. Makes you appreciate what you have.
But I'm only using that to revert back to the business conversation. But if you start with that security, you start with that, that communication, that having that partner that's there for you. If you start with the top tier stuff, you don't appreciate it as much because you don't know the other side. So I mean, what you say resonate with me too. I agree with it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious about the journey. We've been talking about the journey. Honestly, all of this applies. So I'm thinking about the correlation between you actually what you said earlier reminded me why I decided to be a CPA. You said only 1% are Black. I remember reading a statistic when I was in college that 72% of the social work field was Black women. And in that moment, it really, I had said, oh, I want to be a CPA, I want to be a CPA. But then when I learned 1% of CPAs are Black, I just kind of honed in on that specific data point, and I disregarded personality, I disregarded anything. So it just reminded me, I chose my career kind of in that way. I wanted to be one of the Black people, but I think life told me you still have to be your authentic self. So when you think about your younger self, how did you know did you know what you wanted to be? And then how did you find your way into corporate?
Yeah, so I always, growing up, I'm from a very rapper, basketball, like very limited option thing. But I always wanted to be the dude with the suit. You remember when we were young, the image of a business person was the suit with the briefcase?
Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't never wanted to know what was in the briefcase, but I wanted the briefcase.
Yeah.
Cause I used to I don't know, I think I'm naturally a contrarian too. But I just always wanted to be a businessman. Like I wanted to be important. Like I wanted people to respect me at a certain level growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to.
What happened? Oh no, his sound went off.
Hold on.
Did you know? It sounds like your sound went off. Okay. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Oh, yes. Okay, so you wanted the prestige, yes.
Now hold on, let me see. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear? Thumbs up if you guys can hear.
I just got a business call. Now I can't really hear you that well.
Okay, sometimes it knocks out, but it'll come back. Sometimes it takes a bit. It'll come back afterwards. It'll be muffled just a little bit, and then it'll come back to regular sound.
Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna reread this because I had forgot my train of thought. Thank you. What is that? Purple Heart Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's exactly what I wanted to be. I used to want to grow into that and didn't know what was in the briefcase, but I just wanted that, I wanted that prestige.
Yeah.
And then when I got to college and business school, it's easy to, the salesman, right? Because the salesman got the fly suits, they the smooth talkers, they talk you out your money, they make the money, blah, blah, blah. So I was going into sales. And then one of my marketing professors said something like, we drive the business, but accounting is the language of business. And I was just like, I want to know the language. Mm-hmm. I was like, wait a minute, I think I need to lean into this accounting thing. Because I was there, first I was there to be a doctor. And then I was like, nah, because when you be broke, you be like, I'm gonna go get the most money I can get. So I went to UAB, I was going into medical, all that. But I was like, nah, that ain't really me. I don't want to deal with the nasty parts. I see the healthy patient, but I ain't trying to fool with the sick patient. But So when I moved to business school, it was sales for me. And then I was like, well, if sales is how you communicate business and accounting is the language, like you need to know both of them. You can ask Lauren. Like I know this sounds like a made up story, but me and her done talked about this years ago. I was like, I need to do both. I was like, I need to be well-rounded in both. So I got both of those degrees.
Okay.
I have a bachelor's in marketing. Can I hop off and hop back on? I see you nodding. I can hear a word you're saying.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop out, then I'm gonna pop right back in.
Okay, cool beans. I don't know. Let's see if I can. I think he can exit out. Okay. Yeah. Tell me if you are enjoying this conversation. Are you enjoying this conversation or are you enjoying this conversation? I think he just dropped off. Let's see. Yep. Yep. Okay. So yes, in the chat, tell me if you are enjoying this conversation. Are you enjoying this conversation or are you enjoying this conversation? In the meantime, I'm gonna check out the comments because I be seeing these paragraphs fly through. I told y'all I just got better with like reading comprehension last year. So I'm gonna read the paragraphs since I have time and go back. But you reinvented yourself with help of your wife. That is growth that we need more of. Absolutely. Listen, can we just say I'm here for the Black love right now? This is a Wisdom Wednesday, and we get some like really like good information, and it's like Black love. It's like Black Love Wednesday, I feel like. Corporate America can be a challenge. Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle Green. Thank you so much for joining. This is really a dope conversation. I'm actually like enjoying it. You back?
Yeah, I heard you saying, look, I told y'all I'm gonna get my reading comprehension together.
Listen, these paragraphs in the chat. I'm trying to get the paragraphs together. So we're back. You were in the process of telling us that you got both degrees. You got a marketing degree and you have the accounting degree.
Yeah, and that's just because I wanted to be like this. What's the word? Consummate professional. I ain't want nobody to be able to say I was really preparing for corporate America. I ain't want nobody to be able to question my capabilities. I ain't want nobody to be able to question anything. I wanted to be highly educated, show up and be smart. I ain't want nobody to be able to say nothing to me. So that was yeah. I played football too, though. Of course, you know.
It was football too. You did say, yeah, you came up. We said you came up from the traditional hood background. So I'm like, you might have thought in the beginning that football was going to be. It could have been basketball or football, but football was going to be your way out. But it's interesting how you strategize that. Hey, I'm gonna get both degrees so that I'll be a killer when I get into corporate, so that they can't tell me nothing. Which is actually a really dope perspective to go into it with. Now, at the time, you knew Lauren, and so my thought is when you were in corporate America, even though you had built yourself up from an educational standpoint, did you deal with I'm assuming, I'm gonna stop assuming as I'm thinking about this question. Did you deal with yes, shout out. Albert is my CPA.
Oh, is that Crystal?
Yeah, that's Crystal. Yeah, we had Crystal on for a Wisdom Wednesday a couple weeks ago. So yeah.
Oh, Crystal, my ace. That's my sidebar conversation. Talking about I'm your CPA. That's my sidebar conversation right there. You know, the real conversation after you. When you can really drop professionalism. That's my goal.
I got you. So as I was thinking about this question, I think the better question that I really want to ask you, because when we were in the DMs, you said that you resonated with the video that I sent you because you also left because of a mission instead of the paycheck. So I actually would prefer to us spend this last bit of our hour together with you talking about the mission that you were driven by and why you left corporate America to drive for that mission.
Yeah, it was just making sure that people like me had that high level of accounting too. Like I say, I wanted to help everybody coming out. As you and me both know, anybody grown know you can't help everybody. Everybody not taking it serious. If it's too cheap, people not gonna value it. I like all those lessons that we all have to learn the hard way when we first start. Like, so my mission really was though, I wanted to ensure that people like me just had access to that high level of accounting. And I know myself, I know I'm going to ensure that I continue to become a better accountant, a better CFO, I'm gonna continue to learn the new tax laws as they come out. I'm gonna continue to learn the new stuff. So I was like, not to just be arrogant, but I was like, they need somebody like me because these companies, I was moving up in corporate. You know, like I was, it was getting lonelier and lonelier for your boy, because as you move up,
Yes.
you know what's around you.
Yep.
But,
You start
but
feeling that 1%. You start really
yeah,
feeling what that is.
yeah, because you get a lot of diversity hires in the mail room. I'll say, I ain't had to work in no mail room and nothing like that, but
No, yeah,
at
yeah.
that staff accounting level, the bookkeeping level,
Yep.
your diversity, they'll put you right there to say that they got black accountants.
Yep.
But then the prospect of moving up gets tough. But my communication style always has allowed me to move up because I like to say it's kind of undeniable when you have me training everybody, when you have me standing up in the meeting saying, well, why don't we do this and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to hold me back. But they were seeing, I think I start seeing the value of myself because they start seeing the value. Because, like it's easy to be like, just generally be like, all these white men don't really care. Most of them don't. But it's one who in there who care about the numbers, who care about the result, who care. They gonna put the best person. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
So I was blessed to work in them kind of companies where they were like, look, I don't know about the culture fit, but we're gonna have to get Albert in these rooms. And that's what allowed me to get the type of experience that allowed me to start putting together the accounting departments, because I will start being on all the cross-functional teams. Like anytime financial accounting got to work with tax, put Albert in there. Albert will be able to kind of put both of it together. Every time the audit is coming, and we need to communicate what we were thinking. Like, well, let them ask Albert because Albert can. So that it was more work, but it made me better at it. Now I'm on a tangent, but let me get back to what the mission was. I wanted all that experience to go to where it needed to be, right? The people who supported me, I don't care what no black dudes say when we say we self-made. Like it was a mama, it was a wife, it was a girlfriend that we ain't appreciating. We done been propped up by some black women.
Yep.
So who start the most small businesses right now? Like we ain't even got to say it out loud, but I'm gonna say it. Black women starting the most businesses.
Yeah.
Black women going out of business the most. The reason why a lot of small businesses go out of business is poorly managed financials. They don't understand the financials. They don't understand the accounting. They don't understand the tax strategy. Like when you know all that stuff, and I'm completely bought in with supporting black women because if you can see where I was and where I'm at, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how could I not? Like, how could I not take all this experience, all this stuff that I learned, all that hard work, and not bring it back to, y'all really?
Yeah.
Like what I look like.
Dang. So are you telling me the mission, the vision, like your person, your avatar, like your impact avatar is the black woman? I know you have clients that are both men and women, but
Yeah.
to hear a man say that, this is so groundbreaking. And the reason I say it's groundbreaking is because this is like water in the desert to a lot of black women. They really feel like black men hate black women. And to not go off too far on a tangent, for you to set up your mission and really to talk truly about how and bring up the statistic. Listen, I'm like, let me get my finances together because I now you know how I am about being a statistic.
Yeah, yeah,
It's really like it's really eye opening to hear you talk about it from that perspective. So I hear so many different opportunities. I'm really big on like programming, nonprofit or profit, but I'm really big on programming and things like that. And you've talked about so much over the course of this conversation, from training young accountants who want to be accountants and be good accountants, training Black accountants, and then also being a good service for Black women. There's so much impact around there. Have you thought about, like, when you think about the next 10, 15 years or 20 years, do you see yourself going into the space where you're now creating training programs? Or when you think about your 15-year goal, what are you doing with the mission that you're currently driven, and how has that evolved over time?
yeah. My it's a couple tier things, right? So professionally, of course, I want right choice to become. I wanted to continue to grow, continue to scale, but with that, I wanted to become like that safe haven we were talking about, so that And I do want to clarify. My sister always get me because I always try to clean it up. She was like, "No, every time you say something about black women, you feel like you have to qualify it by saying you don't hate other people." But I don't want it to be. I don't want to ever come off like this is in spite of anything or against anything. It's just focus. It's young black brothers who look like me, black women, and I say specifically black women because y'all know where my daddy probably at. If we were to open up this comment section and people start guessing where my dad is,
Yeah.
it's gonna be in the first couple comments. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
So for me to make it here, I just know what I was propped up against. For me to be able to communicate well, like I know Lauren taught me how to go into a restaurant and just exist in there. She taught me what to do. She taught me how to talk. Like so to act like I don't owe a lot to black women and all the black women that were me and my homeboy when we were growing up who were like getting together and making sure we were straight. So I always want to just pay homage to that.
Yeah.
But I don't like to act like, I don't like white folks or nothing like that. But back to your I'm good on a tangent.
Listen,
but
me
back,
too. Me too.
but back to your question, I would like to see it grow into a place where everybody can show up and really focus on the work and develop professionally. So you show up and you become a better accountant here. So that don't mean, like professionally, you show up and do your thing. That don't mean you can do whatever you want to do around here or anything of that.
Yeah.
So I want to see that for right choice. And personally, I just want to make a real impact on, changing what is thought of as professional, changing what people think of accounting. People think accounting is boring. People think accounting is, mundane and monotonous. But that's because accountants, generally speaking, are just some boring, straight up and down people.
Yeah.
Now, if we get to talking about how I'm finna save you these 30,000, how I'm about to save you that, that's interesting to most people. But it's delivery. So I want to just change what that professionalism look like, change what the face of it can look like. Cause I'll go up against anybody on competence and all that stuff. Like I don't care how straight laced you sound. I don't feel like you're a better accountant than me. Cause you ain't read more than me. You know what I'm saying? I can't say anybody, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
not only read more, but tried more before you
yeah,
left corporate, and now that you are out as an entrepreneur, like you are like I'm ready to make my 5-6 figures so I can go ahead and transfer my business off to you or Crystal, because I've been thinking I got things in mind.
yeah.
So
Well, me and her, we gonna always work together. So with your financial advisor, when we get there, we always gonna talk about Crystal first. I was telling her the other day, I was like, I know you might not hear it, but your name in rooms you ain't. I was like, your name always in rooms that you ain't in. But it's the same family with that. She gonna always probably be our first choice on who gonna handle the retirement, the financial advising and stuff. And hopefully, we gonna be her first choice with the accounting and tax people.
let's go. Let's go.
Like I
I'm
said, that's my
loving
goal.
it. We literally you and I didn't know each other before this live, but I feel like we created a little ecosystem within this 1 hour. So it's been really like a blessing to have a conversation with you. Didn't know where it was going to go, but I knew it was going to be a blessing. So it's been really, really great talking to you.
Same here. Same here. I say, this is my first time. I've never had somebody be like, well, let's hop on live and it's typically, well, let's have a meeting before the meeting and we're going to have a pre-meeting meeting and I'm going to send you over a list of questions. And once you get that list of questions, we're going to go back and like, by the time we get on the call, you be knowing my kids' names and my.
Yeah,
So,
no,
this
yeah.
was
No,
cool. This
I
is
am.
really cool.
Oh, what were you saying?
No, I said this was really cool. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. She said, always my first choice, the right choice. I love it. I pinned this paragraph over because I was like, let me make sure I get to it. It's good stuff, brother. We have to help our sisters and our daughters the same way. Absolutely, absolutely. I just had to pin that because it'll get away from me and I won't acknowledge it.
Yeah,
So
bro. I got 2 daughters, so I got a son and 2 daughters. So that's another thing. Like I'm talking about black women, but think about these little black, like what I look like not cherishing their mama. Like I would just be like my perspective is different because I got homeboys who still doing their thing. I ain't gonna even act like I don't get it.
yeah,
But how could I not like appreciate? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Okay, Albert, we're gonna have a part two of this. I'm just letting you know we're both in Atlanta. So guys, if y'all want to see him on the Work and Play podcast, just put it on the in the chat real quick because I think he'll be a dope guest at the on the Work and Play podcast for sure. But I'm not gonna hold you any longer. What I would like for you to do is for those who are interested in working with you, or who just need to prepare for being ready to work with you, your final words on either words of wisdom or how they can work with you, is the floor is yours.
definitely, and again, thank you. I canceled my 1 o'clock because I started getting excited, and I was like, I know I'm gonna get to talking, and I ain't gonna have that meeting.
I
So
respect your time.
yeah, but I canceled it. I was, I pushed it on out of there because I was like, now I know we gonna get to talking because I felt your communication style. Anyway, so I got a few minutes if you do, so you don't have to rush if you want.
Okay,
But
perfect.
the best way to communicate with me is you can follow me here. Full disclosure, I ain't the only one who managed Albert the CPA. This is Lauren page with my face. She tell me what to say. She tell me what to talk about. Lauren manages this page. So if you would like to just kind of follow us and see how we talk, how we do things, what our vibe is,
Yeah.
Albert the CPA on Instagram is your best like behind the scenes look at what it will really be like to work with us. Like it's fun, laid back. As far as reaching out to us, I'm gonna say just email us at info@rightchoiceaccountingsolutions.com. I'm sure Lauren has that easily findable in my bio somewhere.
Or if you put it at in the chat, I can go ahead and pin it. So Lauren, if you're still in here and you put it in the chat, I can pin the comment and then y'all will be able to y'all be able to go to it and see it real easily. Oh, thank you, Chris. Listen, Crystal, this is a whole vibe right now. Okay, there we go. I got it. Boom. Oh dang, what happened to it?
But yeah, we work with service-based businesses, and if they're really ready to start scaling and start thinking about more along the lines of what their numbers mean for their business, if they're thinking about hiring and they want to know how much can they afford to pay, when they just want to make that high level stuff, that's where we come in and start saving the money. When they start worrying about thousands and thousands of dollars in tax bills, I'm saying thousands, I'll say 10, 20,000.
Yeah.
When you start worrying about big tax bills, that's when you come in and get with someone like us so we can start strategically saving it. Like, but I'm busy. I was finna say I'm cool talking with anybody, but
Yeah.
Tiana,
Don't be
Tiana,
clouding up the DMs.
Tiana protect. If you email that account and it don't look right to Tiana, that's another thing about black women. I'm gonna just say this and get out. Well, y'all protect what y'all care about.
Man.
Tiana swat them down. If they come in there and don't seem like they serious about working,
Yeah.
we'll never hear about it.
Yeah, well, I'm not actually going to let you get out since you said we had a little bit more time. If y'all have a little bit more time, I'm here. I am curious about the other side of Albert, the CPA, right? About Lauren, about you guys' relationship, because as young entrepreneurs, we also want to find someone that could be our significant other. And a lot of times we make it seem like it's kind of like impossible. So when I hear someone like say like when you have that, I recognize it was early. You guys were really early on. So, but I still believe that you can pull some principles from what you know works and kind of talk a little bit about the journey of one, you quitting your job with the support, you building a business with someone you really love, and then like how you're maintaining entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's really just that partnership. It's that partnership. It's more of a so everything with me started internally, right? It's always like a mindset thing. It's always like a comfortability thing. So with Lauren, I don't have to ever guess if there's another human being on the planet who got my back. I ain't never gotta guess if somebody gonna support me. Cause it's always so hard to find support. Like I don't never have to guess if somebody gonna support me right, wrong, and different. I ain't never gotta guess if somebody believe in me that, if we quit our 6-figure jobs and say we're gonna build something, we're gonna actually do what's necessary. Like, so that is the main thing that I would say, like partnership. And you right, we've been together so long, so I've had a lot of years of showing improvement of like trying things and working, trying things and working. So I don't remember early on how she rocked with me, but just over the years, I think she realized that God just blessed me to be a winner. Honestly, like when I try something, if I put my all into it, it's just we win. And I think it's easier to support me because when I win, I give credit to everybody who assisted in that win. Like I I could consider myself self-made because I ain't have like the family structure and the support and the blah blah blah. And I went from that to this. But in growing from that to this, I had Lauren. I had Lauren's family. My son, we had our son when we were sophomores in college. So that makes a big decision. Like that's a
Yeah, you
big
got to get real focused.
yeah. It's either not. Are we finna get together? Or are we finna drop out of college? Is one of us finna like what we finna do? Are we gonna be able to? So that helped. So I think about all those different things for us specifically.
Yeah.
But the thing that applies to anybody is gonna be that partnership. Is I rock with you, right, wrong, and different. If it go wrong, we gonna figure it out together. If it go right, we gonna win together. And that's rare because everybody kind of want to pick a winner and ride with a winner. I always say now this some old married opinion on single folks stuff, but I always say like when I see single men and single women talking about what they want, they be talking about exact opposites. It's like women be wanting to feel like secure, generally speaking now, not everybody. But women be wanting to feel secure. They want to be with a guy who's successful. They want to be with a guy who got his stuff together, who got his own stuff. And the man want to feel like a woman would be with him if he did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it almost naturally creates this. Are you with me because of what I got? And if I lose it, will you stay with me? And then men want something that I don't even think is possible, generally speaking. They want a woman who makes six figures, cook, clean, raise the kids, do every like they want all of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that I think the compromise is missing. Like Lauren and I have to compromise. Like I used to not be able to communicate well, so Lauren used to be the talker. Like now you talk to me for this last hour, you know who the talker is. Like ain't no doubt about who talk around this mother.
Yeah, you got
But
it.
if both of us were trying to talk over each other, that would create this.
Okay.
So I talk a lot. Lauren don't really talk that much.
Okay.
Lauren makes sure I know what I need to know. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she a lot more concise than I. Her words are more powerful. Like I talk a long way around getting to my point. Lauren say if I go this way, Lauren is right there.
Yeah.
So that fits. I'm a dreamer. I'm expressive. I'm overly emotional. When I'm mad, I'm mad. When I'm happy, I'm happy. When I'm sad, I'm sad. Lauren even kill. Like you could hurt Lauren feeling. You may be able to tell she hurt, but it ain't gonna be like the end of the world. You can give Lauren $1 million. You can be able to tell that she happy, but it ain't gonna feel like, you know what I'm saying, she even kill.
Yeah.
So we just fit like that, and it's because we had to get like that back in our sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
We were having to figure out, all right, you go to class at this time, I'm gonna go to work, you go to work, I'm gonna pick up Braylon from daycare, you gonna do this, and then like we had this whole thing where if either of us decided it wasn't worth it no more, the whole thing would have fallen down. Well, more for me, because Lauren come from a good family. They would have took care of her. But even with that, she bet on me. You know what I'm saying? Did I answer your question at all?
You ain't no. Listen, I can't see the chat anymore, but if you can see the chat, y'all, everybody in here needs to put fire emojis because one, you gave us so much from the beginning of the conversation, like how to fix our books or how to go ahead and invest in a CPA, how to figure out this transition because this transition is real. Trying to figure out how you leave the programming that we have in corporate, and then what do you want to take from corporate and add to it, all the way to you being like, hey. Partnership, this is a whole philosophy in like this you being a person, this whole journey and how that applies to you. So it's like a well-rounded conversation all in one.
No, thank you. It's honestly, it's like when you work on yourself and your mindset, it shows up all around. Like me working on Albert has shown up professionally, personally, like with my friendships, with of course in our relationship. But Lauren kind of I think Lauren kind of built a bear me or built the man. Like, oh, so
Lauren, we're gonna have
yeah.
to get you on next.
But no, but I do think that we focus so, and then especially in the age of social media, we focus so much on external stuff, like what it looked like what it appears to be.
Yeah.
But the only way to make that real, like meaningful progress is to work internally.
Yeah.
So like it was like a couple years, and then probably when I was in my late 20s, when I was like, when you convert, it's like these stages where I was arrogant about it. So I was like, shoot, Lauren, you see what they going through. You ain't gonna never be able to say I did that to you, or you ain't gonna never be able to. But
Yeah.
that's internal.
Yeah.
But it got me to like I ain't do that stuff. We don't have them unresolved. I ain't cheated on Lauren for years, and then try to get it together when I started getting older. There's a lot of aunties who husbands were doing their thing back in the day. Now they old and dried up.
Yeah.
Now they want to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Lauren, Lauren will never be able to say I didn't. Well, we started dating, it was different, but like she'll never be able to say.
Yeah, I got you. Because when my homegirl says this, she's like, listen, she says this as if it's all of us homegirls. If any one of y'all on the what do you call the listen, y'all, I hadn't even think about a wedding, but where you meet a man at the altar, that's what it is. If any one of y'all say we've been through so much, now we made it. She said, I'm about to walk out. Y'all clearly done did a whole bunch of stuff that I don't want no parts of. Like, cause it's like people, we put ourselves, we assume that we have to accept so much BS in order to get that longevity in a relationship. And shoot, I don't have time for as an entrepreneur, I don't have time. If you want to be on that foolishness, I'm not like Auntie, just from the simple fact that that's gonna affect my books, and you doing all kind of crazy stuff is just gonna take me all off of track. So that's one reason why that just cannot be me. It ain't about will not, it just cannot. So anyway, yeah, we done went all off on a tangent. This is after hours. This was after hours anyway. For those of you guys who stayed after 1 o'clock, I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank y'all for being a part of the conversation as well. Y'all know how to find Albert, get a backseat, or not backseat, but a backstage view of the business and what it's like working with them. And so you guys know what to do. Albert, thank you so much. I will definitely be reaching back out to you about being on a podcast. Hopefully, we got to have more conversations just like this.
Yeah, anytime. And I appreciate you as well. Thank you for giving me the platform. I didn't think it was going here either, but I appreciate you for letting it go.
Good.
You're a great host. You rock with them tangents. So that's a real skill.
Absolutely. We in there. I appreciate you. Well, go ahead and enjoy your next meeting. I will definitely see you later. Thank y'all again for joining us. Peace out.
Have a good one.
You too.